Warning. The following program contains explicit content, outrageous opinions, and untrained professionals. It is intended only for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to your uncensored home for World of Warcraft with your hosts, Berzerker and Navox. This is Unshackled Fury.
The time is nigh. Today we pierce the veil of death and ride to save our souls. Welcome to episode 80 of the Unshackled Fury podcast, your uncensored home for World of Warcraft news and opinions. I'm your host, Berzerker, and with me, as always, is the Thoris Trollbane to my Darien Mograine. He is Navox. Welcome back again, sir.
That was a good intro.
Doing my best.
It's good to be back.
gotta dredge up two of the four horsemen.
Yeah.
You do make a good Sally Whitemane, but the warrior-ish Thoris Trollbane came to mind.
I had no idea that there was a new Four Horsemen, and I had no idea that she was one of them. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right, that's cool.
This is why the DK Class Hall in Legion was just so badass. Because
see, I missed out on all of that.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So good. Yeah, I think they tried to. I'm gonna get a correction here, but there was an alternate person they were trying to raise that the Lich King wanted originally. I believe it was Tyrion, and that didn't work out. And then had a little problem with the Paladins, and that's why back when we kept saying the Lich King is up to some shit. So
yeah,
and we're gonna talk about that because apparently there was, or at least somebody thought there might have been. But we're here. We're here as this episode launches.
Yeah.
We're on also the launch date of Shadowlands. Finally, it's here.
Yeah,
it's happening. Can't pull it back now. I mean, I guess they could, but they're not gonna. We're too far into it now. But since we were here to last, how have you been enjoying Death's Rising, and did you get your bag?
Oh, did I get my bag? I got more than one bag.
Whoa.
I think I got 4 or 5 bags on my alt.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I had my Outlook set to send me an alarm every time that I set up the alarms. I was like, you know what? If the bag boss is going to spawn outside of these hours, which usually the ones I didn't want to get up for were the 3:30 a.m. bag boss stuff, but it was spawning every 20 minutes at the time I was farming this stuff, and then Blizzard changed it to every 10 minutes, and it made the bag boss show up a lot more often, along with everything else. I managed to upgrade the alts that I really care about, that I usually level alts with. This next expansion, I don't think I'm gonna be as heavy into my alts as I was. The only reason I was maintaining the alts, as many alts as I had, was because I was highly involved with doing invites in the Convert to Ray guild and stuff like that, and I was, and now not so much, and I'm just it's not important for me to maintain these alts.
Not
anymore.
as necessary.
So I'm just gonna it's not so much necessary.
Yeah.
Now. So I have my rogue, I have my warrior, my paladin, and my hunter, and those 4 characters are going to be the characters I'll probably just level up and play around with, and then at some time in the expansion when it gets boring, because it happens, I'll play around with those other alts. But I was having a lot of fun. I upgraded weapons on all the alts that I care about with, not killing the Thanos, but participating in the event where Thanos gets sent to the Shadowlands, because we don't necessarily know what happens at that point. And
we did speculate about that last time. I was very much on
the
the fence. If you recall, I said he should die, but I don't know that he will, and this could be a 5% he jumps out kind of thing. But Pteranodon fucked him up good.
Yeah, no, she did, and I think he's mostly dead and not all dead. So we'll see about
difference.
that. But yes, and other than that, I mean, I made sure that my characters got the bag, the weapons, and I've been really, it's logging in. I've just been running around whenever a group shows. Well, the group in Northrend's just there killing, the NPCs. It's just you're basically killing time at this point. I don't know, everybody was. You're logging in. You're killing time basically. You're just waiting. You're just waiting for the next, for tomorrow. So
yeah.
But I had a lot of fun doing that, and other than that, not a whole lot else going on. I mean, still trying to offload my bag space, the bank space, pets, this, that, and the other. But that's about it. How about you? What have you been up to?
Well, like everyone else, getting ready. Right, we're getting ready,
Yeah.
And on the last show, we talked about Death's Rising and these bosses coming and being resurrected from days of old. And so, like everyone else, running around trying to get my blue drake off of Scotty and trying to get my bag. And I got that bag first try on Berzerker. And then after that, I was kind of like, it's the only one I need. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. Running around doing the quest line, seeing what we have to do, essentially. We had to go kill this one sort of emissary character at the very end, and getting that portal to the grounds up there was nice to Stormwind. Although I already had the tabard from way back when, that I could just use that as a portal, so I didn't really need it. But I think that's nice for folks that are catching up and didn't actually do all the Wrath Era stuff. But it was interesting to see that many people at one time collapsing in on a boss and getting in big groups, and that always gets me excited, seeing all of these people in one place at one time doing a thing. It's one of the quintessential parts of an MMO is being together in these large groups, which we don't really have a whole lot like that very often.
No.
So it's, I think, really fun when it does happen, because it's one of those special events. I have a confession that I have to make. I did not get my druid, my new druid. I did not get him up to level. So I used my boost.
Oh, no.
Used my 50 boost. I know it's so easy, and I still didn't do it. But I know that once I get ready and I want to go through and do the Night Fae Covenant.
Right.
I don't want to have to waste any more time leveling him. So I just bit the bullet. Used up, I have 3 of those boosts. Might as well use one of them.
Absolutely,
and get it up. So got that guy ready. So I have 4. I got my 4 main tunes ready. I've still got to kind of finish up a couple of things probably tonight, because here we are recording on Sunday, with this going live on Monday. So, and then just being ready for 3 p.m. my time, 6 p.m. your time, and everybody make sure you check the map to see what time your time zone goes live. They do have those maps posted on the Warcraft Twitter and everywhere else. So if you miss it, it's your fault. It's out there. But beyond that, outside of game, and you know about this, I had to clean my den. For whatever reason, whenever there's either a BlizzCon, an expansion launch, or both if they coincided, which it probably would have this year otherwise, I always go through this area of cleaning. Like I have to or this time of cleaning where, particularly in my den where I have my computer and all my stuff, it gets out of control, and then I gotta bring it back. So cleaned it all up, ripped stuff out of the closet, reorganized that, took all the other extemporaneous crap out of here, put my BlizzCon poster from 2016 on the wall, which has been in a tube for 4 years and hasn't seen the light of day. So now that's up. But this cleaning did not come without a fair amount of peril. As I'm sitting here, this is just yesterday, I'm sitting here, and sometimes paperwork stacks up and you're like, oh, I gotta shred stuff and kind of sort through mail and whatever, and so we kind of just have a pile that collects here, and I randomly have to go through it. So I'm sitting here and I'm kind of ripping stuff open, and I'm sorting through it and throwing stuff in this box or this pile, whatever. And out of the corner of my eye, I look up on the ceiling and I look at my smoke alarm, and there's a wasp sitting on the outside of my smoke alarm. Little, it was one of the little circular disc looking things. And I'm like, oh shit, that's not good.
Mm-mm.
And for the next hour, this wasp and I were locked in an epic battle for dominion over this room that I now sit. My wife, who was at the threshold of the doorway, I had to stop her. I said, stop, don't move. As it kind of buzzed around a little bit, but it was walking around the outside of the smoke alarm. I said, go get the fly swatter. Go get it. So she runs downstairs, and I'm keeping an eye on it, and I'm kind of, moving around and making sure, all right, do I have room to move? If he comes at me, can I escape? I don't know. She comes back with a fly swatter, gingerly hands it through the doorway. I grab it. So I have that in my right hand. In my left hand, I grabbed a can of compressed air. Because I'm like, well, maybe I can stun him, or maybe I can do something just to kind of, fuck him up a little bit, and then boom, drop the hammer on him. So he's kind of buzzing, and I'm like, well, you know what? I'm just gonna try to get him here on the smoke alarm because he's a little bit static there. Whammo! One time, hit it. Did not even come close. He hit inside a little crack there's a little separation where you can unscrew it and put the batteries in it. Well, he'd gotten into that little crack just enough to escape. And then, boom, he was mad. And he was buzzing around, and I'm like, oh, shit. And I'm like dodging and weaving. I'm doing like my best Muhammad Ali impression, trying to bob and weave and get out of the way. And he's coming at me, and I'm moving, and he's coming back, and I'm trying to swat him away. And I'm keeping an eye on him, and boom, he gets up onto one of my shelves. And I'm like, all right, you motherfucker, I got you now. So he's sitting up there. It's just kind of crawling on some of my stuff. And I got a bunch of little knickknacks. Because for years, I've gotten loot crates. I never talked about that on here, I don't think. But I've gotten loot crates for years, something my son and I enjoy. And all the little knickknacks and stuff that they come with. I have 2 shelves above my desk that I keep them on. And he was kind of walking across some of those little knickknacks. I said, well, some of them are about to get sacrificed because we got some business to attend to. And poor little Mega Man had a little guy walking across him, and whammo! I hit him again. This motherfucker flew off and hit me right in the chest, and like a small child, I am screaming, ah! And I'm like trying to get this thing off of me, and my wife and my son are like, what is going on? Like, what is happening up there?
That's awesome.
And I'm swiping this thing away, and I'm blowing air, and I'm swinging this fly swatter everywhere. And I'm like, did I get him? Like, where? Nope, sure enough. I see him buzzing around the light in the center of the room up on the ceiling. I'm like, God damn it. He's buzzing around. I keep trying to spray him with the air. He goes back up on the shelf in the back behind some stuff. And I'm like,
oh man.
So I have to get a ladder now. And I get a ladder, and a little step ladder, 2-step ladder. I get it close, but not too close because I may have to bail. So I get up there. I'm looking around. I got a flashlight now. I'm shining a flashlight. I'm looking for him. I don't see him. I start moving stuff around. I can't find it. I'm like, where the fuck is this guy? I'm looking around. I can't find him. It's the most amazing disappearing trick ever. I get some of that compressed air. Trying to flush him out. I don't know where he is. I can't find him. Like, well, he's got to be here somewhere. Like, he didn't just disappear. There's nowhere to go. Like, clearly this thing is here somewhere, and I'm missing. So I'm up there. I'm shining this light. 10 minutes go by. I cannot find this dude. I step down, look around a little bit, see maybe I missed him. I don't know. I look up again. He's on the wall. I'm like, God damn it, where did he come from? I'm like, well, Gonna have to sacrifice some more stuff up on the shelf because I'm just gonna have to start wailing away until I get him. I climb up on my 2-step ladder. Got can in one hand, flash water in the other hand. Whammo! I try to get him again. This time, totally didn't get him, and he comes at me again. And he's buzzing. I'm like, shit! Bail out. Run to the other side of the room. I'm thinking, God, do I close the door? I can't close the door because I can't lose sight of him. Because what happens if he gets lost in here and then I can't ever come in here again and we have to burn down the house? Can't do that.
We're moving.
So I'm watching him. And I see him, boom, doink into a bookcase. I'm like, oh, God damn. Because there's, we got books. We got knickknacks. We got all kinds of junk in there. Once again, can in hand, swatter in hand. I'm spraying. I'm click-clacking that thing around, like, trying to get him out. Nothing. I cannot find him. I cannot get him out. Another 30 minutes goes by, and I'm like, I'm trying to clean this den. I got Shadowlands to get to. I don't have time for this bullshit. I'm spraying. I'm looking around. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Lo and behold, there he was. On the floor, trying to crawl away, and I brought the hammer of justice right down on his ass. Just bow, 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 bow.
That's funny.
I won control over this room. It is now mine.
There you go.
So let that be a lesson to all insects who try to invade this domain. You will meet the same fate. You may think you have me, and I might scream like a child, but I will still win. So that, my friend, is what I have been up to.
Wow.
In the most recent times. We got a lot to get to today. Want to give a rundown of everything that's coming, starting with the launch of Shadowlands and how we got to where we're going. But first, I have another story that I need to tell. And this one involves even more rage. Why don't we get to that? Let's rage. So if you follow me on Twitter, @BerzerkerRage, you may have already seen this story. But if you haven't, or you want to hear the telling of it, here it goes. This is about the Shadowlands Collector's Edition that I ordered back in July. If you recall, back then, July 8th, that's when I made my order. We had, the go live for orders of the Collector's Edition. They had said that this year it was going to be a more limited supply and that they were going to amp up the quality. So more and then less of it. So made the order through the Blizzard Gear store because I figured, you know what? We've talked about problems with GameStop. You never know about Amazon. As great as they are, they've got some weird sellers on there that look real but are not.
Right.
You've got Best Buy, which is kind of 50-50, and you've got other e-tailers, I guess we call them. But I thought, you know what? The Blizzard Gear store has got to do me right. It's the Blizzard Gear, like it's the source. Like this is the best place to go. So I made my order, July 8th. Much time goes by. Now we're in middle of October. Friend of the show, Jer, had mentioned that he had received his already, or that he had seen his order and then subsequently received it. This was about the time that I was looking for that Arthas statue that I talked about, where they sent me one and my neighbor got it, and then they sent me another one, and then I had two, and then had to send one back, and that whole thing. Well, about the same time, that's when I had seen that, it looks like my CE has shipped as well. I was like, okay, great. Can't wait. It's going to be awesome. A couple days go by, a week go by, 2 weeks go by, nothing. No update on the shipping status through FedEx. Still says that they're waiting for it to pick up in Las Vegas. I'm like, what is going on here? This doesn't feel right. So, end of October, I call Fanatics, because Fanatics is who actually runs the Blizzard Gear store. It's not Blizzard, it's Fanatics, this company that does all kinds of fan gear and all sorts of stuff. And this is sort of an ancillary of this. Call them up and I say, hey, I see this order. It hasn't come out yet. We're getting close to the release date, and I'm getting a little sweaty, a little nervous. Can you tell me what's going on? Oh yeah, don't worry about that. sometimes it just takes time, and they'll catch up to it. Don't worry about it. I'm like, okay, all right. They said, give it till Monday, because I think I called. It's like a Thursday or Friday. And they're like, give it till Monday or Tuesday and see what happens. I said, okay. So I call the following Monday or Tuesday. Same answer. I said, and to be perfectly fair, the people at Fanatics who I called, these customer service reps who are clearly working out of their homes, were exceptionally nice people. Very nice. Everyone was looking to help. They could not have been better. So this is not knock on them whatsoever. The second time I called, I said, I'm going to need a little bit firmer of an answer about this, because we're looking at, whatever it was, less than 2 weeks or 3 weeks away. Like, I got to find out what's going on. Is there a supervisor I can talk to? I'll call him up. Supervisor says, it's weird with these things, but I see that your order is scheduled to ship on the 2nd of November. I was like, okay, all right, well, that's, just next week or a few days away or whatever it was. I said, so that sounds fine. No problem. Let's do that. Second comes and goes, nothing. Third comes and goes, nothing. Keep waiting. Nothing is changing. So I waited until the 10th. So that's, 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks ago from our recording here. And I'd still seen nothing. So I called him up. Explained what had been going on. I said, what's the status? We're less than 2 weeks to go. They said, well, now it says that this won't be shipping until January if it ships at all.
Oh, man.
I said, what do you mean if it ships at all? Well, we don't know about these suppliers, and this is a special item, and we may not get enough, and we have to wait and see if the manufacturer makes more, and then we can send out the order. I said, wait a minute, wait. I bought this, I pre-ordered this the day that the orders were made available. Like, I should be on the list with everybody else that pre-ordered them. You knew how many you needed, and then sent out. I don't understand how that's possible. Well, we're really sorry. Sometimes that just happens. I'm like, it just happens that you took $140 something for this item, charged me for it months ago on a pre-order. If I can channel the great coach from the Colts, who with the playoff rant, pre-order, and you can't come through.
Yeah, I was like, man, this is like Jerry Seinfeld. It's like
that's the whole point of a reservation.
Took the reservation. You don't know how to hold the reservation, and that's the most important part of the reservation, the holding.
Yeah, that is exactly what happened. I could not believe that close. Now,
man. Oh, man.
Granted, this is, in the grand scheme of things, this is a first world problem. Yes. Am I alive and well right now? Yes. So I understand the ridiculousness of this situation.
It's still an issue, though.
In many ways. However, that being said, in our little universe, this is some fucked up shit and a bad business practice to take pre-orders for something, not say anything to anybody, and then have me have to track it down to then learn that I would have been sitting here with my thumb up my ass come Monday. So to wrap all of this up, on the other side of things, after I'd already raged about it and put it on Twitter and said a bunch of stuff in a bunch of places, lo and behold, Blizzard came through and saved me. And I want to give a huge shout out and a thanks to the community team there who heard about what happened and sent me a CE, sent me a collector's edition for Shadowlands.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I did tweet about that as well. Now that I have it in hand, I can tell you it is the best one they have ever made.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Absolutely beautiful. The book is amazing. I even have the mouse pad here. All of the little details and everything that they put into it, it is a beautiful collector's edition and really worth the money that we usually pay for those things. I did get this one for free. Again, just totally being transparent about this one. They did send me this one, so I did not end up having to buy one. So I want to thank Blizzard for helping me out, helping a brother out on that one. But my word of warning coming out of this to anyone who's listening, think twice before you order through that store. Because I know other people have had their problems. I had not yet had a direct problem because of them before it had been with a shipping issue. That was FedEx's fault, not theirs. But this is not a good business practice. And I understand Blizzard's probably wrapped up with them pretty deep, and this is what it's going to be. But if you need to go there, I'd just keep a very close eye on your orders. And don't be afraid to call them and find out what's up. So that is the final rant for the BFA era and going into Shadowlands. Obviously, a lot going on this Monday. And why don't we go ahead and put this to rest and jump into our news. So the time is now. Shadowlands is finally here. We've talked about, I think, every angle of this expansion that we can without giving stuff away and without talking about too much story stuff and beta experiences and all that kind of jazz, other than, I guess, running through Torghast. That was really the bulk of it, but even that has seen significant changes.
Yeah.
I think since we first saw it in the alpha days. But we're here. The time is now.
Yeah.
Although we've talked about many times what is going to come, we're going to try to consolidate the rundown here. If you want the quickest hit on this, Blizzard did put out a survival guide video. Generally pretty good, just to get the quick hits and what's happening. So what we're going to run through is pretty much just that same lineup. But here is essentially what we're looking at starting on Monday. And that is, we are, for the first time, going through a linear story, at least the first time in a couple of expansions, where we're going to go through these zones in a set order. We're not going to just get to pick, if you want to hang out in Maldraxxus first, or Ardenweald, or wherever. Going to start off in Bastion and run wild from there. And during those early events, we're going to be helping to restore order. As we've learned, or has kind of been hinted at us, something is wrong in the realm of death. At this point, technically, we don't know, if you just follow the story, right? But we know, as players who are subject to seeing data mine postings every 5 minutes from Wowhead, that there is an arbiter that is not working. And so souls are not going where they're supposed to be going. Anima, this substance that essentially powers the afterlife, is in short supply. And it's all fucked up. So we got to go in and save it, amongst chasing after Sylvanas and saving our leaders, as we learned from the Nathanos kill, as you mentioned. Tyrande did not get abducted.
No.
Kind of a misleading portion of that video, I thought.
Yeah.
Which was kind of interesting, because they showed Bane and her and Thrall and Jaina and Anduin, but apparently not all of them got scooped up.
Nope.
So that was an interesting little fake out. But that's where we're going into the Shadowlands. And we're going to be meeting up with these covenants where, although the story is going to be on rails, so to speak, we're going to get to choose which covenant we go with. So that'll be the choose your own adventure sort of part of this. And on top of that, we're going to be introduced to Torghast. So all the times we talked about Torghast and everyone else talked about Torghast, so great. Now you're going to finally get to see it. Solo player content, also party content. It's, whatever you want to do. I know in the early iterations, I really enjoyed it. I doubt that that's going to change. But anyone that is at level 48 or higher, you're going to be able to get in. You're going to get your first quest to go meet up with Bolvar. Our buddy Bolvar. Looking real good. I gotta say, that new model is pretty bitchin'.
Yeah.
So that's where we're gonna start. Know a little bit about that because I did see that one. Quest. It's pretty cool. It is. It's pretty fun to see that. But we will get that quest at 48 or higher. Head out to Ice Crown, see Bolvar. The Death Knights are there. There's a whole party going on. They're waiting for us.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they want to do. And then we'll go through. We'll level. Once you get to max level, once you've seen that whole journey, get to 60, that's the point at which you're going to pledge yourself to one of these covenants, Kyrian, Venthyr, Night Fae, or Necrolord. While we're on that topic, are you leaving open the possibility to whatever feels right, or do you know which one you're gonna go with?
Oh man,
the eternal question.
I thought I was going Kyrian, and now it's like, do I need to go Venthyr because of the execute thing and how it works with warriors? It's like Pelagos got nerfed, so it's like, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's like there's all these things that are happening at all these changes. I'm just like, whatever at this point. But I was leaning towards Kyrian. I might stay Kyrian because I like to swap back and forth between Prot and Fury, and but at this point, it's going to be whatever. I was staying strong with Kyrian, and then Venthyr got pushed back up there again. So I don't know.
So you are going to go performance based?
I might go performance based. Yeah, we'll see. Even though I hate the vampire theme of it, we'll see. Actually, you know what? If I go through that storyline and they drive me absolutely nuts with that story, I'll be like, screw it. I'm just gonna stay with the Kyrian, just because that storyline is gonna drive me nuts. I think so. We'll see, because the cutscene and the little short story I've seen of it already has already driven me. I'm just like, ugh.
And
do not.
Well, and to that point, and thinking about this, and this is. I guess this is what I can't escape. Once you pick a covenant, okay, yes, you'll be able to change it, and there's a whole process.
Yeah.
We've talked about that. You are theoretically going to be doing daily and weekly quests, and you're going to be spending a lot of time in whatever zone that is. So, to me, it seems like you should enjoy it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Because here's what's going to happen.
Right.
Here's what's going to happen. You watch. Let's say you picked Venthyr. We went through Venthyr.
Sure.
That was supposedly the best one according to a chart on a webpage.
Mm-hmm.
You've spent this time and you're doing the thing. And then, here comes a round of tuning.
Yep.
It's inevitably going to happen.
No, yeah.
It'll either get dropped or it won't make a difference. Because it's not supposed to make a difference. At the end of the day, it's not supposed to make a huge difference which one you pick. It should be bent on your play style, not on a DPS chart or a healing chart or survivability or whatever. And I can just see it coming. They're gonna drop that tuning fix, and people are gonna flip the fuck out. So this is what I'm saying. Pick the one you want, and this is not just for you, Nav. This is for everybody. Just pick the one you like. They're gonna get changed, and you're gonna have to spend a lot of time with these people and these creatures and these places. Just go with what feels right. I can't say it enough. I just can't say it enough. But it is a very legitimate pickle that people are going to find themselves in, just like you, where I'm looking at this and I want to be, I want to be helpful to my raid team. I want to be doing the best that I can be, and I don't want to be getting left behind because I didn't want to hang out with the vamps. I wanted to go hang out with all the cool angel dudes.
Yeah.
It's hard. That's hard. I get it, but man, I'm telling you, people, write this down. Berzerker told me, pick the one I want, not the one that the chart says, because it's gonna come back to haunt you. I guarantee it. So, more about these covenants. If you recall, the whole reason why people would pick one over the other in this discussion that we're having is because when you pick a covenant, you will be granted 2 special abilities. One is what they call a signature ability. One is a class ability. And those are the things that people are really going back and forth about, because ideally, all of these abilities should generally put you on par with another player who picks something else. Now, There may be issues related to some grant you more mobility or some grant you more survivability, or there may be those kinds of trade-offs, which is, that's fine. But in terms of pure output for whatever you're doing, they should all be about the same. So we'll see. But those are the two kind of major perks that come with Covenant choices. On top of that, as you play the Covenant campaign, you'll be granted access to a sanctum for that specific Covenant, which is where all your other little homies hang out. There will also be soul binding. So this is where we talked about Pelagos, for instance, with the Kyrian. That'll be one of the soul binds. You'll harness the power of this soul bind. You'll connect yourselves with this, this individual. Through them, you will be granted more abilities and more buffs and whatever else is going on. There's also a conduit system going further down into the layers here, where as you complete certain content, you'll be granted access to these conduits. You can change them out over time. That whole mini game is going to be interesting to watch as this expansion plays out, because there's those three levels, right? There's the Covenant, then there's the Soulbind, then there's the Conduit. So it's that interplay along with your class and your faction, and there's a whole mini game in there, and I weep for the people that are gonna play it, because it's gonna drive you crazy. Just be like me, be blind to it, just be totally ignorant. Just pick the one you want. I'm telling you. On top of that, there's another thing that you get when you hang on to one of your Covenants. You get a special activity. If you recall, we talked about these. The Kyrian, you get the Path of Ascension, which is a sort of a gladiatorial type event, which again is probably pretty much the reason why I'm going to be going through there, because it just fits my vibe. Necrolord, you'll be able to build your own abomination, which, hey, listen, everybody loves a Build-A-Bear workshop. It's very popular. Night Fae, the Celestial Garden. I guess you can grow little wannabe Ursoc souls. I don't know. I'm not really sure. But it looks nice. So you can go in there. And then the Venthyr, you get to throw some kind of a blood party where people are trying to invade and you kick them out and prizes are handed out. I don't know. It sounds very bougie.
Yeah.
You can tell me all about it when you pick your Venthyr Covenant. So that's kind of the high level overview of these Covenants. There's way more down in the nitty gritty, but the basics are you're going to pick one of those four and you're going to go down that path of soulbinds and conduits and which abilities you want. You'll probably, as I understand it, get to test out all of this stuff as you go through each zone to introduce you to these systems and get your feet wet on them, and then help you decide, well, which do I feel the best about, and then go from there. Torghast, we've talked about Torghast, essentially the prison of them all, and this is a roguelike inspired system that when we first talked about this, I had no idea what that meant. I know this had something to do with the class rogue. I didn't know there was a game rogue. So credit to Barian, my raid leader, for introducing me to that whole concept. He's like, you don't know what a rogue is? No, I've never heard of it. But he's a nerd, and I appreciate that about him, because he introduces me to these things, and I can't wait till he listens to this. So when you go through Torghast, it is a tower, so you're going to go level by level. Each level gets harder. You gain new powers as you go up. And it's different each time you play. Now, for you, Nav, I don't think we've ever talked about our gameplay in this particular game, but do you feel like this is also a good corollary to Diablo? Like, if folks played
absolutely.
Diablo and sort of the dungeons that we had in there, do you think that this is a way in which a WoW player can get that same fix?
Yeah, because the minute I sat foot in Torghast, I was like, oh, this is just like Diablo. I mean, it feels and plays just like Diablo.
And how so? For people that maybe haven't played Diablo, like what's the comparison, or what's the hook that really you're like, oh shit, this is great?
Oh, because while you're going through killing demons and stuff, you get little power ups along the way, and your little power ups, you can. It's a choose your own adventure power up type deal. So you're essentially getting stronger and stronger and stronger the longer you go on, and it's almost if you played, it would be the equivalent of playing Diablo on that what is that mode?
Hardcore.
Yeah, so it's the equivalent of playing Diablo on hardcore, basically. But, I mean, I enjoyed it. It's to give you an example. In Diablo, there's what they call a spin to win type thing, where you are whirlwinding and you are pulling demons into and you are just able to do all that kind of stuff. Well, you can actually do that in Torghast if you're playing a warrior. You can get these certain abilities in there that will also, while you attack, it pulls stuff towards you. You can blow stuff up. I mean, I don't know. It feels really good. It feels really fun. I could see people spending hours doing this.
Yeah.
Just on the fun factor alone.
Oh yeah. And it's the creativity of the builds, and it's also the creativity of the devs, right? Because they're the ones that are putting these new little treats into the game to you have to decide, well, which way do we want to go, and it introduces new play styles that we've never seen before. So yeah, it's having played some Diablo, it's sort of the uncertainty of where we're going, so it's new, it keeps things fresh in that way, but it's also yes, it's going to get harder, but I'm going to be able to do a bunch of crazy stuff that I've never been able to do before, and it's always fun to be able to just go nuts, right? So on top of that, the other major part of Torghast, yes, you'll be able to earn all kinds of little things as you go through Torghast, but the main thing is crafting materials for legendaries.
Yeah.
And access to the rune carver. That's, I think, the biggest hook of all, is that's the system where we're going to be gearing up legendaries in this expansion. Right now, it sounds like we're going to be limited to one at a time, and there's going to be a pool of abilities that we'll be able to pull from when we craft these legendaries. And they'll be based on, and you'll have to look at one of the guides to see all the different rundowns of what's available, but a lot of these are based on things that we've had previously. Set bonuses, other abilities that we've had on previous legendaries. So it's kind of like the Rune Carver, who's been around for a long time. I think there's a lot of the history that we're going to learn about him. But the Rune Carver's been around for a long time. And so things that we see, this great gear that we get, he's tied to. And that's an interesting way to tie in both lore and the practical need for gear, which I really appreciate. So for Torghast, that's what's coming. And again, it's something that you can solo. It's something you can do with your friends. It's all the above, which that is the kind of play style I know some people don't find the most gratifying, but I really appreciate them doing that kind of thing, where if I want to run it, I can run it by myself. If I got a friend, I can run it with a friend. If there's a group of us that are got time one night, we can do it. We're not limited by how many people we have available. And that to me is a great way forward. There apparently is a new arena for PvP coming. I don't know anything about it. There's vendors, there's gear. If you're into PvP and you listen to the show, I know nothing about PvP, so I'm sorry. But you're getting something new. So go check that out. There's a new season, something. One of the other little tidbits that's coming is we are getting these adventures, which is taking the place of the mission table that we've had in every expansion now since Legion, I think, or Warlords. This mission table, instead of sending out, we got to counter these two things, and off you go, and I need an add-on to tell me which 3 guys to send to blow up these ships. Now, you're going to send out a party of 5 of these little characters that you have on this table, and you are going to have to strategically place them on a board, essentially, to go head-to-head against whatever this other challenge is on the other side of this board. So it's kind of like a tabletop game, essentially, at this point. And where you place your characters on this board is going to make a difference for how you're countering certain things. So it's kind of like how we do raids. You tank up front, melee DPS, ranged and healers behind. Like that kind of setup is essentially what this looks like. You'll earn pets and gold and a bunch of other little stuff from these events. And you'll also be able to check the status of how this is going, because it's a turn-based event. So it'll go one by one by one. You'll be able to check this on your app.
Yeah.
On your little handy-dandy phone app, which I have been very bad about using over the last expansion or two, because I know that you can go in there and keep a look on what's going on with all your mission table stuff, and I have not been good about checking it. So maybe this is the kind of mini game I need to get into it. But did you get a chance to check that out at all in any of your beta play?
No.
Okay.
I haven't had a chance. I was really excited about Torghast and then Bastion, and then the rest of it was let's leave a little bit for launch. Let's leave a little bit out of it and see what we get.
There you go.
Because I want to be a little bit surprised here.
There was a post about it. If folks are interested, there was a post about it some time ago, kind of detailing essentially what this looks like. It's no substitute for actually playing it, but that information is out there. And you do have to pick a covenant before you can play these adventures. So I believe that the adventure table is in the sanctum for the covenant that you pick. So you will have to go there first. Last but not least, we are aware of what our first raid is and when it is coming. That is Castle Nathria. That comes on December 8th, so just a couple weeks after launch, which is why some people were a little upset about the timing of this, because the Mythic race will start on December 15th. A week and a half before Christmas.
Wow.
Blizzard has said that they understand that there is concern about these dates. However, they do have staff who are volunteering to stay on during the holidays and keep working. Wouldn't be surprised if they're getting paid a little bonus, as they should be, hopefully. But with holiday travel not as high as it may have been in the past, they probably have a few more bodies available and people willing to participate and help out in this, because as we've seen, Nav, the Mythic races have gotten a little funky in recent times, where they've had to make hot fixes on the fly because stuff wasn't tested properly or abilities weren't happening right, or they have had some issues, so they do need people on deck to be ready.
Yeah.
Do we have a sense of who the major teams are at this point? Now, I mean, I heard that Method was back, and I have purposely avoided having that discussion on this show because of a variety of reasons, but I hear that they are back. Are there others? Limit perhaps?
Limit's one of them. I don't think it's Method known as Method. I think it's Method known as something else.
Where's Blood Legion?
Yeah, I
Midwinter.
gotta tell you, like I am so over like the world first race. I don't care. I don't care if you guys raid till I just don't. Like I'm at that point where I just don't care. I enjoy logging in, raiding with my little group. I don't care if somebody goes and blows the game up the first week it's out. I really, it's just not in my give a shitter's empty on that. It just is.
Maybe if we had some better people to root for. At first it was just anybody but Method, and now it's kind of like I need. It's kind of like in the old days of the UFC when George St. Pierre was coming up, and I was like, I really like this guy. I like his outlook on things. I like how he's approaching the game. And so I was able to hook on to him, and then when he kind of semi-retired, so did my interest in mixed martial arts to some degree.
I gotcha.
I feel like the same as with the myth. Like I need something compelling to get me in, other than just who's first. Like I need an antagonist and protagonist.
I guess so. I mean I don't. I just cannot get. And everybody's like, oh, it's a very important player run event. Okay, well. Okay, whatever. If it's important to you, it's important to you. I'm not going to sit here and say that's not important to you, but to me,
But it's not important to you.
It's not important to me, and that's all
that's
that
okay.
matters to me. So, and that's it. It's okay that it's not important to me.
That's how it goes.
It's just not for everybody, and I'm just one of those everybody's that it's not good for. So
there you go. So for folks that are pining away for that mythic rating action, that is coming on December 15th, and that is kind of the first month or so, 6 weeks of the expansion. That's what we're looking at, is going through the leveling process, getting up through the ranks with our chosen covenants, and hitting into the raids. And that is the gist of what we'll be seeing. And here on this show, we're going to start talking about story once we've all had a chance to level through and see what's going on and talk about the impacts and fallout and what are the the hits and misses and everything in between, all the stuff that we've been holding back all of these months that I know other people have talked about plenty well over, but as has been our custom, we always wait. Because honestly, I've been dying to get into whatever's going on out there in the Shadowlands. There's so much mystery about what it is and how it works and what's going on, and you hear people saying all these great things about it, but I have held out. So
yeah,
now we'll see. Now we'll see what's going on. But there is one other part of this that we do have to wrap up before we get there, is how did we get here? How did we get here? Where the catch me up, previously on Sons of Anarchy, what happened here?
Right.
So, if you recall, at the end of Battle for Azeroth and a not old god expansion, we defeated N'Zoth, an old god.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw the culmination of Sylvanas' machinations, at least up to that point. She had been challenged in Mak'gora by Saurfang, and she did defeat him, but then she stuck her foot in her mouth and said the Horde is nothing, and then was like, oh yeah, never mind, I was going to leave you bozos anyway. And then, whoop, in a puff of smoke, she disappears.
Yeah.
So she disappears. We find out, okay, she's got some other plans and what's going on. What does all this mean? What's happening? So sort of trying to go chronologically, that happens. And then we get caught up to speed on the afterlives of several individuals as it pertains to the Shadowlands and the 4 major zones outside of the Maw that we'll be seeing. We saw Bastion, where Uther was getting some justice. We saw Maldraxxus, where Draka decided that she was now a rogue instead of a warrior, or sort of both. Ursoc got sacrificed one more time in Ardenweald, and Garrosh was going down there in Revendreth. And so we got caught up to speed on this anima shortage. And in the afterlife, anima is the substance that they get from these souls of the nearly departed, or dearly departed, or recently departed. Pick your term. But that flow has stopped, and so the Shadowlands are dying. The afterlife itself is dying, which is kind of a weird concept, but that's what's happened. And so we get brought up to speed on some of those effects. More recently than after that, we were given a short story from Robert Brooks, one of their main writers over there at Blizzard, We Ride Forth, which was about the aforementioned 4 horsemen that we were discussing earlier. And this was a really interesting story. I always love my Death Knight lore, all that kind of stuff. Huge mark for it. So in this short story, we're getting caught up with the 4 horsemen and all of the Death Knights and what's going on in Acheris, and something's afoot. The Death Knights, for some reason, you've got Mograine getting held at sword point, and they're talking about taking down the Lich King.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is going on here? We don't really have a sense of the timing right on the outset of the story. It's really good. If you haven't had a chance, I recommend you read it, but we're going to talk about it. So if you want a spoiler-free version of this, skip ahead a few minutes. And what we come to find out is, to keep it brief, the Death Knights are free of their will, but they know that the Lich King, if he wants to, can exert himself over them and control them completely. Like, maybe not control their mind and what they think, but can control their bodies. So, in this instance, we find out that Mograine was essentially just told, get the fuck out of here, and he was forced to march out through a death gate and back to Acheris when he tried to confront the Lich King, because the Death Knights, as we learn, have a constant connection with the Lich King, and that voice, that presence, they called it, guiding them, telling them what to do, what's up, what's the will that we need to follow. At the same time, the Death Knights discuss amongst themselves how their loyalty is not necessarily to the Lich King, it's to the preservation of Azeroth. Well, they feel that something has gone wrong with the presence. So the Lich King, something's off with the Lich King. They don't know what, but what they're afraid of is that Bolvar may have given in to the power of the Lich King and been totally taken over. Because that's the battle that they talk about, and that's what, going way back, is what Tyrion had talked about with putting this helm on means being in a constant state of battle with this power of this helm, which wants to make you evil and crazy and have you unleash hell upon the world. And so the Death Knights, as we've come to find out, are constantly on guard in case Bolvar gives in. They get to a point where they are afraid that is what has happened. They see the Scourge starting to coalesce around Icecrown, that some of the Scourge are hiding themselves in the snow. Like, clearly the Lich King is gearing up for something, and they're like, oh shit, if this is going sideways, we have to kill him. We have to stop him. We have to do something right now. And when they try to confront him, the Lich King, or Bolvar, is very evasive about it and doesn't want to say what's going on, but basically that you can't come here. Like, you shouldn't be here, and you'll get killed, and don't come here. Now, we, knowing what we know as players, we're pretty sure we know why this is all going on, but we start to see kind of what happens in the moments before that battle between Sylvanas and Bolvar. One of the cool things I thought they discussed or described was when Darian Mograine goes to Icecrown Citadel, goes to the top, and Bolvar is still in that ice, still encased in that tomb of ice, but it's starting to melt. And there's a big crack that comes down across the front of it, and he even tries to kill him because like a chunk of ice falls out and his neck is exposed. And Darian goes to try to make a sword strike to kill him right in the neck, and the Lich King is able to control his body and stop him and then turn him around and send him home. So it's at that point that we know he's breaking out. Well, the Death Knights fly the Acheris over there because they're freaking out. They don't know what to do. They're like, well, we got to take him out, and whoever's left has got to get him. And they get there right in time to see Sylvanas, to see the whole thing with the helm. They can feel the helm influence stop. Like, they are suddenly totally free of this influence as the helm is ripped open and destroyed. They see the whole thing happen with the sky. Sylvanas apparently just disappears, and they go to rescue Bolvar. And at that point, they understand, he knew what was coming. He knew what was happening up to a point. Didn't realize that she was going to destroy the helm. Thought she was just coming to take it for herself. And that's when the Death Knights come and pick him up. And that is what we then see in that launch trailer where they're going to Icecrown and grab him and bring him back into Acheris. And he goes, I knew she'd come for this power, but I didn't think that she'd do this. So that was what that short story was about, was describing the lead up to that event from the point of view of the Knights of the Ebon Blade, of the Death Knights. It was a fun read. I really liked it. So if you like that kind of lore, it's like just a mainline dose of this stuff. It's so good. But we also had finally a real cinematic. You know, I've been talking about this for months and going, what's going on? So if you look at the sort of the chronology of this, we have the short story, which then feeds into the intro cinematic, which kind of feeds into both the launch trailer and the story trailer. The launch trailer is the full CGI cinematic that we saw, where it showed the 4 zones plus the jailer still in chains. For some reason, I thought he was free. Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we'll find out. And then the story trailer, which picked up from where the Knights of the Ebon Blade, the 4 horsemen, 2 of them, Sally Whitemane and Nazgrim, are picking him up and bringing Bolvar back in, and he's telling that whole story. So that kind of leads us up to where we are now with the Death Rising event, with all of these creatures being summoned and the Scourge running loose. Doesn't seem like we have much of a plan for that other than just keep fighting them and killing them. And the Argent Dawn's like, yes, please come back and help us out. We've been here 10 years. We're all alone. Help us. And now here we are. The launch of Shadowlands. We'll be summoned back to Bolvar. Bolvar asked his Death Knights to collect the pieces of the Helm of Domination. We'll be seeing that, spoiler alert, at the top of Icecrown Citadel.
Yeah.
That's where we start. At Acheris. At the top there. Where the big battle happened.
Right.
And off we go. Off we go. So that's, in a nutshell, that's how we got to where we are. So I think for some people, and I share the sentiment to some degree, the pre-launch event has not been as impactful I think, as I had thought it would be, or maybe I felt it would be. But I have really enjoyed all the little pieces of lore and story that are helping to bridge that gap between BFA and Shadowlands. I know that there's complaints that too much happens outside of the game, and I think that that is a fair complaint for people to have. At the same time, for those of us who soak this shit up like a sponge, it's been a godsend and phenomenal, and I love it, and it all feels very seamless to me. Like, it all just kind of flows into one thing. For yourself, Nav, do you feel like you're ready for the story, that you're caught up and you're like, I understand where we're going and why? And, you know, it's just from a general player's perspective, do you think that Blizzard has done enough to set the stage?
I think players are going to feel caught up the minute they get in and do the intro quest line. It's whether or not you watched all the videos outside or read any of the story arc or anything like that. I think, things will start making sense the minute you start doing some of the quests once you get on the other side of the mall.
There you go.
Yeah, because there's a lot of storyline that happens after you get through the mall, and it has to do with the Helm of Domination. No spoilers, things like that, but you'll understand what's happening at that point.
There you go. Don't worry, people. It'll be good.
It'll
be good.
Yeah.
Well, follow-up question that I have is, since you've played through it, you actually do spend a little chunk of time in the mall when you first go in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you do. When you go in, you spend a lot of time in the mall, and there's some characters that show up, some familiar faces that show up, and, you are going through and I don't want to ruin it for any. Well, actually, at the point of everybody listening, they're probably already through the mall at this point. If they're listening to the show,
maybe.
Yeah. So
maybe I haven't.
But so I'm not gonna ruin it for you. So you're gonna go through the mall. You'll see some familiar faces there. You'll get past the mall.
Yeah.
And then you'll just start a quest chain. At the main city hub there, and it'll all make sense to you. You don't have to catch the outside of the game stuff.
You don't have to worry too much.
I don't think a lot of people. Yeah, you don't have to worry too much. No.
Well, there we are. Monday, 23rd or 24th, depending on where you are in the world. Because I don't know if you know this, Nav, but according to some of my latest metrics, we are the 33rd biggest video game podcast in Australia.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So, hello to all of our Aussie listeners.
Wow. That's awesome.
Thanks for bringing us aboard. And if you are that far ahead on the time frame, send me some lottery numbers, because I'd like to know what's happening tomorrow, because every day seems like it's unbelievable shit.
Groundhog Day.
Yep, Groundhog Day. So that's where we are. And, one of the things that we were looking forward to celebrating this time of year, along with the expansion launch that we did not get, was BlizzCon. We are going to have BlizzCon Line in February. But this would have been the time we learned. We would have had it back in October, as we talked about. That third week in October was when they'd scheduled it for originally. It didn't happen. But this past week, we did have a couple of panels featuring some cinematic directors at Blizzard for something called CTN Live, which is Creative Talent Network. You haven't seen this, but they had a convention that was going on. I think it's still going on. It was like a 2-week convention. And they had a bunch of panels about a variety of different things in the creative arts. 2 of these panels featured directors from Blizzard talking about their various cinematics. The first one was about their motion story cinematics, they call them, which is like with the Afterlives and Warbringers and all that stuff, like that style. And then the second day was about the full CGI and in-game cinematics. And you had a bunch of folks from Blizzard, folks that we know and love and talked about a bunch, and they were given the details on how these things come to pass, the history of them, how they make certain decisions, what it's like. And it was about the closest thing to BlizzCon that we can get kind of from an outside source. So it was really nice to get a chance to watch this. I appreciated it because it was during sort of a lunchtime in the middle of the day for me. So I could legitimately just say, yeah, I'm on lunch while I'm watching this. And without BlizzCon, I guess I hadn't realized how much I missed getting those sorts of mainline insights from these folks. But it was very refreshing to not only get to hear them speak, unvarnished, not through a PR thing or, some forum post that gets, batted around between folks internally, but just a conversation about how these cinematics come together and who's responsible. A couple of the stories I thought were pretty fun. One is how those motion story cinematics even came to be in the first place, which is that if you'll remember, the very first one that they did was The Burdens of Shao, way back when in Mists of Pandaria. And this was about essentially how, like, the Shaw came to be and some other stuff.
Oh, okay.
This was the brainchild of Dave Kosak, who just left. If you remember, we talked about him recently. He was with the Warcraft team for a long time, went over to Hearthstone, and now he jumped ship to go join a new company. Apparently what he did was he got dressed up in this costume and told the whole story of the burdens of Shao. Like, he, to sort of inspire the team, he got up in front of them all and told this whole story just by himself in a costume. It was then pitched to Chris Metzen, hey, we've got this idea to do this kind of cinematic story, motion story, or this kind of thing that we want to do. Can we do it? And he told them, whatever you can do for $1,000. That's your budget. $1,000.
Oh, wow.
So that's what that very first one was made with, was $1,000 budget. So if you go back and you watch it, it's great, it's interesting, but it is very simplistic, and that's the reason why. That was their first stab at it. And so from there, they began to use it more. They use it a lot in Hearthstone. Like, if you look at the one they just did for the Dark Moon Fair expansion, very complicated, all kinds of stuff, like thousands of layers going on at one time, as they describe. So it's certainly evolved over time, but they've had to come up with all kinds of different techniques and technologies to be able to do it. So listening to them describe that process was very interesting. The other great story, and this is it's sort of one of these inspirational stories that came out of this that I really appreciated, was Jeremiah Johnson is one of the folks who works on this, and he describes the story of trying to pitch to Chris Metzen, again, another Metzen story, trying to pitch to him the Goblins and Gnomes expansion for Hearthstone.
Oh.
And he had to go in and sing. If you remember, there was a song. This is how they got started with the songs as part of these Hearthstone things. He had to go in and sing the thing to him, like, unprompted. And so he just starts going in there and he describes this whole thing. He's like, I think I'm gonna get totally shot down and humiliated. Goblins and gnomes. And he's singing this whole thing, and he sees, Metzen's putting his head in his hands, and he's like, oh God, this is going terrible, but I gotta keep doing it. And he keeps going, and Metzen looks up and he goes, it's great, let's do it. And those are the kinds of stories that always come out in these panels, these types of panels. So if you get a chance, highly recommend going and checking it out. They answered one of my questions, which I appreciated at the end of the stream. Brian Horn, one of the directors, I'd asked, what is the typical timetable, if any, for completion of, like, the full-scale CGI cinematics from the point of when they agree, okay, this is what we're going to do, to when we, the players, actually see it. And he confirmed it is a couple of years. Like, that is how long it takes. So when you see these things, it's not a snap decision. It takes a long fucking time for them to make these things. They said the shortest one that they ever made was the one with Gul'dan. If you remember when they did the Legion announce, and it was Gul'dan and he was waking Illidan up in that crystal.
Really? Because that was a good one.
Yeah. That was
I like that one a lot.
That was, they said, the shortest production schedule of like a handful of months. It took them to do that. And part of it is it also depends on what assets they have already that they can reuse. So, like, they had a Gul'dan, they had Illidan, they were able to kind of, put these things together. Taryn Gregory likened working on the game to, like, working on a show. So he thinks of this as the 16th season of World of Warcraft. And so that's kind of how he talked about it was, for this season, we're going to do this. And then next season, we'll do that. And season 18, we'll do that. So production schedules for television in a game, I guess they do kind of align when you have to think about stuff like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was very informative, really enlightening. And if you get a chance, these videos are up on YouTube, so you can go in and check them out. It's just CTN Live directing at Blizzard. I think you'll be able to find it through that. But I highly encourage anyone, if you got some time, just put it on in the background. Not a lot to see. There's some pictures and stuff, but for the most part, the storytelling is really what you want to hear. And speaking of devs, we did have kind of a larger dev exit this past week when Chris Kaliki, who'd been with Blizzard for 13 years, left the company. And, we've seen a fair number of people leaving now that Shadowlands, I think, is wrapped up. But instead of doing just like a tweet, hey, goodbye, he posted a video, a fairly lengthy video, talking about his experiences working for Blizzard and why he left. And some of the reasons that he cites, I think, goes back to certain conversations that have happened in the community as well, which is the focus of the game has changed over time. Where it used to be that it was more about like player identity, people were known on a server, right? Like you knew who the troublemakers were, or the good people were, or whatever. Yeah. And now it's less about individual players and more about the story itself. There's more story. It's more about, you're playing through this epic event as opposed to, as he put it, sort of player-created drama, which, quite frankly, I am fine doing without that. But it was an interesting read from somebody on the inside, and certainly somebody who seems to have really enjoyed the vanilla days and is enjoying the classic Renaissance, but feels that there is a vision lacking for World of Warcraft at this point, and that even some developers share that concern, that there is a lack of centralized vision for what World of Warcraft should be. For you, Nav, as somebody who's seen it all from vanilla up until now, do you think that there are, I think to some of his central complaints, do you think that there are areas to improve when it comes to things like guild development or core systems that are being sacrificed in terms of story?
I was thinking about this the other day. Actually, I was thinking about this a lot, and this just came up recently because I thought I was ready to go into Shadowlands with, just jump right in, and I'm just gonna, it's gonna be awesome. Everything's gonna be great, this, that, and the other. And I immediately get anxiety thinking about, oh shit, well, now I have to worry about legendaries. I have to worry about my covenant. I have to worry about, all of this stuff I have to worry about pre-game, and the game hasn't even come out yet. Like I'm trying to, like, I look at my raid team members and they've got their outline of what they want to do to the point where they've made up storyboards and hung them above their monitors.
Oh my!
So that they know that for this character they're doing this, at this they're doing this, and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of prep work that's going into these games where in the past you were just like, fuck it, expansion just came out.
Let's ride.
Hey, that's cool. Let's ride. We're playing it, and then we're gonna get the best gear when we raid. And hey, you know what? There's a legendary that we can work on together, and it's just for that one class. And we're gonna make sure that the person in our raid team, they're gonna get it, and we're gonna help them get it, and it's gonna be that. Now it's a lot of overhead, and I think that's what turned me off last expansion with the with all the N'Zoth,
the corruption,
with Nyalotha and the corruption and all that shit. I didn't want to have to worry about figuring out another story. I didn't want to have to figure out another game mechanic. And I know I'm being old and crotchety here saying this. It's just, I just don't care about these new game mechanics. I just don't. Like, I'm one of those players. I just want to hop into the game that I've been playing all these years. Yeah. Do my thing. Get my gear from raid or get my gear from doing, the dungeons and stuff. I don't want to have homework. I don't want to have to do, all right, well, if you want to be the best, you gotta, take your character, sim the shit. And there's a lot of overhead that goes into this game that didn't used to go into this game. Yeah. And it does put me off a little bit. It puts me off a little bit. Am I gonna still do it? Yeah, to some extent, yes. You have to if you want to, you don't want to, like Laura said at some point, and ratings like having a pizza party, and then somebody doing shit performance is like somebody coming in and pissing all over the pizza when you're at the pizza party. It's like, I get that, it's just, but to some extent, I do agree with the game there may not be a central focus, or maybe I don't know. I'm not a game designer, so I'm not about to sit here and go armchair quarterback it from Florida, going the game should be this way. I'm not saying that at all, and I'll jump in and I'll see what they have to offer. But
yeah,
to some extent, I am a little put off with all the new nuances and new changes and stuff like that. And if you want to agree to disagree with me out there, listeners, that's great, but I just I can't help but feel the way I feel. So am I going into Shadowlands with utmost excitement? No, I'm not. I'm glad we have something on the I'm glad there's something new, because we're just spinning our wheels at this point, with BFA, and it's nice to have a new expansion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to shit on a new expansion. I just don't like some of the mechanics that are being put in place, so.
Well, it'll be a good test, right? Where
yeah,
they say that the best games are ones that are, what is it? Easy to play, difficult to master.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So
yeah.
if these systems are put into place and you feel like you're easily able to get a good handle on, what's good, what fits your play style, all those kinds of things, which is what I'm waiting to see, right? Is I haven't read these guides, I haven't looked at these things because I don't have context for them, because I haven't played through that far into the beta. So will I be able to pick it up and go, this soulbind feels good, these conduits seem right, like this is what I want to do? Like that, to me, that is the measure of success. If I have to go back like the old reforging days and pick up an add-on and go to a website and have to figure out, I need 33 less stamina on this, sacrifice that so I can get more crit, that sucked.
Fuck that.
I hated that, and I was so glad when they got rid of that, because that's just don't need that. Don't need reforging.
Yeah.
So to your point, I can see that. So we'll see. Hopefully this will go well. But
yeah.
So if you want to see Chris Kaliki's video, go ahead, check it out. It's out there, and you can see what he's got to say, and you can chime in yourself on whether you feel like the game has gone too far in one direction or another. And we'll just add more logs to that fire. Last but not least, add-ons. If you haven't updated your add-ons, make sure you do it this coming week, because there's been quite a kerfuffle about this. As CurseForge, which I had told, pulling back the curtain here, I completely forgot that CurseForge was the name of the website that hosted all this stuff, because I've had it bookmarked so long. I just click on this stuff and just update it. I haven't been using any of these add-on managers or any of this shit. I just do it all by hand manually. So I have missed out on all of this drama. But apparently, CurseForge is changing hands and transferring over to Overwolf, and that will be the housing for all of your add-ons. And there was going to be a time when all of these add-ons were not going to be available during the first week of the expansion, which does seem pretty fucking crazy. Well, they decided to delay that to November 30th. So please update all of your add-ons before November 30th, because it will be down. CurseForge/Overwolf will be down reportedly from the 30th of November through the 3rd of December. So you got about a week there where it's going to be down. So make sure you update your add-ons. Then fly into the Shadowlands and kick some motherfucking ass. All right. Well, I think that'll do it for this episode. Other than this fine program, where can the good people find you on the internet, Navox?
You can find me out there on Twitter. I'm at NAV_OX.
As for me, you can always find me on Twitter at Berzerker Rage, and this show at Unshackled_Fury. Feel free to contact the show with your questions, comments, or otherwise by going to unshackledfury.com. And you can find this show wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Stitcher, Spotify, and Pandora. So once again, thank you for listening. Remember to keep your swords wet and your banners high, and we'll see you in the Shadowlands. Farewell.